Hello, students. You are cordially welcomed in the English lectures, which I'm going to resume the first lesson of your second book, which is The Lost Child, in the supplementary book, is running on. In it, we were studying about, we have studied a lot about, and we are moving further in the third lecture of it. Let us move further toward the other points of this lesson, The Lost Child by Mulk Raj Anand. Okay, so students, in it we were studying, we have studied up to you know up to here, and right now let us move from up to there. Let us move from here. Okay, so now let's begin, as we have discussed a lot about this lesson, so there is no need to tell you further anymore. So let us move further toward the explanation. Okay, so please listen it carefully. Okay, as they neared the village, as we have studied that there were crowd, just moving, crowding toward a local fair, a seasonal fair in a village, where a child with his parents was also moving toward the fair, and moving toward in the path toward the fair, he met with several things, whom which all writer is explaining here. Okay, very in a very detailed manner. So let us resume further. As they neared the village, okay, as they means the father, mother and the child. As they neared, they get close to the village, the child could see many other footpaths full of throngs. Okay, so the child, who was putting the finger of his father and mother, moving rapidly toward the fair, okay, he could see many other footpaths. Okay, so there were uh, just approaching to the village, he found that there was many footpaths, all full of throngs means crowd. Okay, all full of crowds, and they all are moving, okay, from different directions toward one, means converging. Okay, converging or coming together to the whirlpool of fair. Okay, whirlpool of the fair. So have you seen the you know have you seen the washing machine? Okay, this term is used, whirlpool. Okay, it's a company also. So whirlpool means something like kind of circulation. Okay, this which is also known as bhavar. Okay, so converging to the whirlpool of the fair mean the crowd was whirlpooling, means just coming close to get toward the fair, and felt at once repelled and fascinated by the confusion of the word he was entering, and felt at once, the child felt at once repelled, as he was repelled or moved on, and fascinated and attracted. Okay, attracted, uh, you know attracted by the confusion of the word he was entering. Okay, he was repelled, it means there was a hate, and also attraction. Fascination means attraction by the confusion of the word he was entering. So in the word, it means the fair in which he was entering, he was pretty confused by seeing the crowd, a kind of repel, or simply means hate, and also a fascination, an attraction. Okay, both came in onto his mind. Okay, therefore there was a confusion. Okay, the fair, or the word in which he was entering. Okay, uh, a sweet mate, seller hogged means a sweet seller, one who sells sweets, okay, at a store or shop, sweet store. Okay, a sweet seller hogged or means crying, okay, or loudly calling people with the names of the sweets like gulab jamun, rasagulla, barfi, jalebi, etc., etc. Okay, at corner of the entrance. Okay, at the corner of the entrance, and crowd pressed around his counter at the foot of an architecture of many colored sweets. Okay, at the corner of the entrance means he was just hawked at the corner of the entrance of the fair, and a crowd pressed around his counter, and a great mass of people are crowded at the counter of the shop. Okay, at the foot of an architecture of many colored sweets. So at the foot means at the foot of the hawker. So there were so many colored, the architecture of many colored sweets means the man who made these all sweets at his foot, means around his counter there was great crowd. Okay, decorated with leaves of silver and gold. All the sweets were decorated with leaves of silver. Okay, means the silver sheet. Okay, and also the gold. You know how a file of silver and gold plates is gold plates are made to cover up, sorry, to cover up sweets or to decorate them. So uh, decorate the sweets were decorated by the leaves of silver and gold. The child stared open eyed. Okay, the child stared open eyed and his mouth watered for the burfi. The child who was looking or just looking deeply open eyed and watching all these, his mouth watered means okay, greed comes out from his mind for the burfi that was his favorite sweet. Okay, as he liked burfi very much, so watching and a hawking of the seller, okay, attracted him toward the burfi, as burfi was his favorite sweet. Okay, uh, after that, that was his favorite sweet. I want that burfi, he slowly murmured. Okay, he slowly whispered to his parents, okay, that he wants burfi. Okay, but he half knew, but he partially knew as he begged, okay, that his plea would not be heeded. Okay, he partially knew it, okay, or almost he knew that his appeal for eating burfi, it could not be heeded by his parents. Okay, so because his parents would say he was greedy, because parents would give an excuse and would say that you are very greedy, therefore we are not going to buy you a burfi. Okay, so after that, so without waiting for an answer, he moved on. Okay, and therefore without waiting for an answer, he moved on means he knew it, therefore he could not wait for the answer of his parents, and he moved on with them further to the another stall or shops. Okay, so after it, a flower seller hawked. Okay, a flower seller hawked a garland of gulmohar, a garland of gulmohar. Okay, when he moved further, he saw there was a flower seller, and he was hawking uh, a garland of gulmohar, a garland of gulmohar. Okay, so a mala made up of gulmohar flowers. The child seemed irresistibly drawn. Okay, the child seemed that he was without knowing anything, he was drawn toward. Okay. Okay, so the child seemed irresistibly drawn, means compulsorily the child drawn toward the hawker of the flower seller. He went towards the basket. Okay, the boy went toward the basket where the flowers lay heaped, where the flowers were compiled. Okay, and half murmured. Okay, and in a half tone, half whispering tone, he said, I want that garland. He said to his parents that he wanted to he wanted to get that garland. Okay, but he well knew his parents would refuse to buy him. But the boy well knew that his parents would never grant him a garland like that, or they would refuse to buy them that flower, that garland, giving an excuse those flowers because they would say that they were cheap. Okay, giving a excuse, they would refuse that this flower is washed good. Okay, and therefore no need to buy them, means these flowers are cheap and worst, therefore there is no need to buy them. So this is the excuses of his father and mother. Okay, so without waiting for an answer, he moved on. So without moving for an answer again, the boy moved on. Okay, so a man stood holding a pole with yellow, red, green, and purple balloons flying from it. After that, when he moved further, he found that a man stood holding, okay, he stood holding a pole with yellow, red, green, purple balloons. Okay, so he hold a pole with several colored balloons like red, yellow, green, purple. Okay, they all flying from that pole. The child was simply carried away by the rainbow glory of their silken colors. Okay, he was simply attracted, the boy simply attracted by the rainbow glory of their silken, okay, colors, means the silken colors, the light colors of the rainbow type of glorious balloons. He simply attracted, and he was filled with an overwhelming desire. Okay, and he was filled with a overcrowded desire to get them all, the balloons. Okay, but he well knew his parents. But the child knew his parents very well, as they would never buy him the balloons. Okay, he knew that his parents would never buy him balloons, because they would say, okay, because they would say, it means they would excuse, okay, he was too old to play with such toys. The parents will excuse that the boy is older enough to buy that balloons, means the boy is too old to buy such toys or balloons. So he walked on farther, and thinking it, he desperately walked on further. Okay, so this way he moved on. A snake charmer stood playing a flute. Further, when he moved, he found a snake charmer. Okay, means sapera, stood playing a flute. Okay, flute to a snake, which means bean. Okay, to a snake which coiled itself. Okay, snake which coiled like this, okay, which coiled itself in a basket. So the snake charmer stood there playing a flute, okay, a bean, or simply bansuri, okay, to snake who coiled, okay, itself in a basket, coiled into a basket. Okay, means like this, in that form it sits under a basket. Okay, so its head raised in a graceful bend like the neck of a swan. Okay, further his head raised, okay, his head raised in a graceful bend, in a very attractive bend, okay, like the neck of a swan, okay, like the neck of a neck means the upper portion of the chest of a swan bird, while the music stole into its invisible ears, okay, like the gentle rippling of an invisible waterfall. While the music, okay, when the snake was you know heading up his head like a swan does, while the music stole into its invisible ears, while the music it was stolen into his invisible ears like the snake, like the gentle rippling, the sound of that, it was invisibly falling at his ear, like the rappling of you know invisible waterfall, okay, when he so it seems like the sound of that watching the things, and also the music stole into its invisible ears, the music of the snake charmer flute, it was invisible, stole into the invisible ears like the gentle rippling, okay, like a gently, when we throw stone into the water, it start rippling, okay, moving like this. So rippling of an invisible waterfall means water fall invisibly, ripples gently okay, like simply a kind of music stole into his invisible ears, okay. The child went towards the snake charmer. The child was again fascinated with the snake charmer, okay, with the sapera, but knowing his parents had forbidden him to hear such coarse music as the snake charmer played, he proceeded further, okay. So, but knowing his parents had forbidden, okay, but he knew or just knowing his parents had forbidden him, okay, somewhat his parents might forbidden him or forget him uh, to hear such coarse music, okay, means to hear such coarse music as snake charmer played, he proceeded further, okay, but he, the boy, uh, knowing his parents had forbidden him, means the parent had already not heeded him to hear such coarse music, means different music, the ugly music as snake charmer played, the snake charmer was playing, okay. So he proceeded further, therefore the boy proceeded further, he did not pay attention on the sound, okay. So students, the rest of the lecture we would talk about into the next lecture. So till then, thank you very much everyone, enjoy the lecture.